screening though to make sure I've got all this stuff rolling.
Technically, I don't need to take notes, do I? That's the secretary.
You will need to.
I'm just joking.
I don't get into free parking.
No,
I wish we could get free parking.
I know a guy.
I was about to say, Sam Trout.
Open up an account with First American Bank and Trust and you can park there like that.
Yeah, I thought about that. I haven't been down to downtown Brent for so long. They may not recognize me, they may told me. Yeah, I parked that garage over there. The second time I've done, I hate that thing. Every time you come in there, every space is reserved already.
Yeah, it's tight in there.
The green one's tight.
Yeah.
The other one, you gotta get to the third floor before there are available spaces.
Oh,
This one over here.
The green one, the one with the green, that's tight.
Oh, yeah, that one's really tight. That one ain't as bad. That's where I parked today.
They used to have a hookup with, validation things for meetings, but I guess that's not something we do anymore.
yeah, I'll volunteer the Butler building, that's what I am. Got a nice big conference room, all the parking you want, anytime you wanna do it.
Well, I might have to take you up on that one. Sam might fight you for that then.
Okay,
We can have the meeting at the bank and everybody can park at the bank.
I'll take that.
But you still have to pay downtown though, don't you? To park?
Not if you're there for a meeting.
Okay, well then,
That's fine.
If you're there for a meeting, we have chamber stuff there all the time. In fact, when I was on the board of Canopy for about 10 years and I made them meet there for a little while too, just to kind of help the creatives get focused on the financials. It's a nice little building over there. Which one?
The one you're in.
Right across the street?
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I found like the 1903 Treasury Architect's plans and sort of reprinted out the various floors.
Yeah.
And then it was expanded in 1911. And so the Treasury architect had to redraw all the detail on all the interior and exterior. And I got those plans and I put those up on the third floor in the big meeting room.
Oh, that is awesome.
And then Rhodes and I were trying to figure out my CEO and I were trying to figure out how to replace one of the old glass and steel entrance vestibules. You know, it's like the 1970s special. They're ugly and they're heavy and it ejects people into our lobby. You know, it's so heavy, the doors. But we couldn't figure out, nobody took a photo of the backside of the bank until I found the 1911 architect's plans and we have a drawing. So
nice.
character built, rebuilding the
Yeah.
actual door that used to be on it back in 1911.
Yeah.
And make it ADA compliant and put a cool copper awning on it, you know, so it's kind of nice to.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me get the agenda pulled up. We'll just go ahead and get started. I haven't heard anything from Bill, so I don't know. If
So
it's
is that-
later.
I guess 2 out of 3 is a quorum here?
Well, we have 3.
Okay, Ken's back. Welcome
Ken's
back,
all
Ken.
this-
Okay,
yeah,
good.
you missed the first meeting and he was there.
Okay,
And then
we've been
Ken's-
trading.
Yes, y'all have traded. So Ken is with us. So we're actually only down 1. So we do have a quorum. So, TJ, I will let you have it.
All right, I guess we'll call to order the TAD District 2 meeting. Will that be the first order of business approval of the agenda?
We need to approve the minutes from the last 2 meetings, I guess, too, don't we?
Yeah,
Yep.
So we'll approve the agenda first.
So agenda for today, all in favor?
Here,
yeah.
aye.
The last 2, I guess we have that, or?
The minutes, so I sent out the December minutes with this
So-
meeting invite, but the, November ones I sent out when we met in December, but I can resend those.
I will make a motion to approve as provided.
That's it.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay.
And Sam, if we're moving too fast, just holler.
No, no.
Okay.
I won't be able to read my handwriting after we're done, but I got elected secretary, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Better you than I.
That's what everybody said. Everybody took a step back and I was still the same.
Just let me-
Glad you jumped on that grenade for us.
You're gonna get your certificate or something.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to new business.
Mhm.
Leisure Services Departments with Alex Bond.
Yes, so,
Start with and all. No, wrong one. Is it this one? Yes. I never get used to clicking on that button.
thank y'all. Leisure Services Department is here. We've talked to a couple different TADs, kind of showing you guys what our projects are, future plans are within the TAD boundaries, just to make sure you guys are aware in case something piques your interest, in case you guys are interested in some connect projects or some recreational opportunities that are happening. So what Caitlin's coming to is.
I was about to say the roads weren't loading.
Gotcha.
Now we're good.
So I'll start off with, so our Greenway Network plan is something that it's a vision plan. So the Greenway that we can get on today is a trail within a corridor. But the ordinance that established the Greenway Commission and the Greenway Network plan is actually for all the rivers, all the major tributaries. So there's a vision plan that includes all that. And that's what I'm going to show you guys today. It's a vision plan. Nothing up here, as shown, is funded. But in order to get a lot of T-Splosh projects have to kind of say, were you on a former plan like Athens in Motion or the Greenway Network plan, to kind of give you extra points when you're coming up for a T-Splosh project. So in general, there's 41 discrete trail segments shown on this plan. And if we clip along SPLOS and T-Splosh for 50 years, we may get to a point where we've got, a big system. So this is the middle of Oconee. Your TAD district does not include, so this is Beach Haven Park. We can talk a little bit more about that too, but so Beach Haven Park is in a SPLOS program, a SPLOS project. It's a user group, its own user group is getting together, talking about current conditions, master plan. But right across the river from that is this property called Matthews Motors. Matthews Motors is, it's got a conservation easement on it. It is, it's a nice large piece of property at home. If you look at the at home, former Hobby Lobby, former Kmart, it is the trees you see behind it. That is Matthews Motors. It does have road connectivity. So there's a little D12 is the business that's right here forward facing. And right down the side of it, you can actually see there is a old road bed that is parallel to their fence. So that actually is road access to this property if this property becomes developed. Is 33% funded from what we think it would take to make that into a real park. So we are looking at grants. We are looking at other opportunities. We're also having a triage when it comes to a master plan list of priorities, what we think we can get done. This parcel TAD is it's very interesting to us because the park, Beach Haven Park, it doesn't lend itself well to public access in a big parking lot. Okay, there's a couple places where we could do some smaller parking lots, but if you're thinking about Athens-Clarke, Bishop, there's 80 spaces plus. We don't have the topography, the historic layout, and road connectivity is not there for Beach Haven. So in the plan for Beach Haven Park, one idea is to actually have this central area right here be a parking lot. That's what this purple line shows. It's actually coming down the hill on a natural or a paved multi-use trail, kind of like a Firefly, kind of like your Greenway Trail. A river bridge. River bridges aren't cheap, sorry, but they're not. And coming over here because this is actually, when we're talking about what is Beach Haven, the summer home is actually still back in here, and that would probably be partially at least stabilized, if not start on rehab as part of that SPLOS project. So in general, this parcel over here is also the most logical when it comes to any kind of river connection, any kind of middle Oconee, because right now we have a North Oconee Greenway Trail, but a middle Oconee Greenway Trail, highest, our Oconee Rivers Greenway Commission has said that this is a high priority trail because what it does is it connects Ben Burton Park, which is just right up here, Mitchell Bridge, right here, Ben Burton, along the edge of the river, and then you're all of a sudden you're at Matthews Motors, and all of a sudden you could potentially be crossing into the new Beach Haven Park. So I just wanted to put this in front of y'all so you can kind of see there are a couple opportunities if TAD funds wanted to help support recreation. Again, currently none of the Beach Haven properties on this side of the river are in the TAD. There's a lot of acreage back in here, that add up to what Beach Haven will be one day. But this is only a small portion, but it is a portion that we hope could be connected at one point, but we won't have the funds in this SPOS program to actually connect this, unfortunately. So just want to put
You
that,
won't have the funds in this SPOS to connect the Beach Haven to the
Matthews Motors.
Matthews Motors.
Yeah, and that's just the former owner.
Meaning the trail and the bridge.
Yeah, the trail and the bridge, River Bridge right now, if you think about the East Campus connector, which is one that we did, that was like 2.5 at the time, but they're probably closer to 4.5 now.
Million,
Yeah, million.
the bridges.
The bridges themselves, and that's with some slight abutments, and then so we say, when acquisition's involved, you pretty much, it's $2 million to get you a mile of paved, finished trail, signs, paint, all that. When it's property we already own, it's more of like $1.5 million to $1 million, because we're having to pay for acquisition or easement. So we do already own those two parcels, which is really nice, so we wouldn't have to be negotiating, doing title searches, doing a lot of work, at the courthouse. So that's, if you guys are looking for recreational opportunities or things to do with TAD funds that are in that vein, this parcel does have some opportunities on it.
Could you remind me what goes north of the Beach Haven? Like, what's that blue, purple one that goes north of that?
Yeah, so the purple
What does that
line-
connect to if you go up?
Yeah. So it is on the sewer. You see there's actually a connection into Hampton Park this was supposed to be phase 4 of Hampton Park right here. So it connects into there all the way up to here, right here. Yeah, Columbia Brookside. And then it actually can, a little bit of acquisition, go road base, go beside the road up in Hampton Park area.
And then what's that? Is that Oglethorpe? That one?
Yeah, that's Oglethorpe right
Okay.
there. And the reason we're showing this as a dotted line, this is actually an Athens in Motion Tier 1 project where they want to put either a separated facility or some other better facility for bikes on Oglethorpe. So instead of having like a redundancy between the Greenway Trail and an Athens in Motion trail, we recognize their trail to also help connect a lot of these things. But all this dark green is already owned, and this light green right here is actually watershed or kind of like unbuildable 100-year floodplain areas. And that's the difference between
Can
those
you
two
build
greens.
sidewalks on that?
You can build Greenway Trail
Okay.
on 100-year floodplain, yeah.
Sort of like what they did on MLK.
Yeah, exactly. What we've done on MLK, what we've done through the cemetery, what we've done South Campus, Bailey Street, Carriage.
Flood resistant because those
Yeah.
areas are.
Yeah, and there's certainly, we try and not go too deep because again, that's like a disservice to the user. But yeah, I mean, building these trails helps actually stabilize some of that and keeps other development from happening on too, which is kind of nice. And this is for us already disturbed because there's a sewer gravel road already running through here, pulling all the sewer from all these guys. It's all gravity through here. So that's this purple line to here, and actually the purple line.
Meaning
here.
like there's a stream of some sort or actually underground sewer.
Yeah, underground sewer pipe, sanitary sewer. Yeah.
Okay.
And same thing, that this right here and this right here is already there. It's already disturbed sanitary sewer. So it's easy. We're not cutting down trees. That's kind of why I'm saying it'd be cheaper to do the trails in this general area because we're not cutting down a bunch of trees. We're not moving a bunch of soil. We're just kind of going along the sewer, or even on top of the sewer.
So the way to get, if I were to, in that area, to try to get on a trail to get all the way downtown, I'd have to go north to Oglethorpe and then into town from there.
Yeah, that
Is
was,
there a way to go south and kind of get a loop around the, like,
Well-
what is?
yeah, so in the vision plan, the 50-year vision plan, it's along all the rivers, right? So technically one day there could be Greenway Trail along the middle, all the way down till it converges, confluence with the Oconee River. Maybe Oconee picks it up from there, like Oconee County picks up from there, they go. There would potentially be a good place to do a river crossing here, there's also potential, this is Sycamore. And so just kind of, the old bridge abutments are actually in this area. So maybe another river bridge could be there. And these are just possibilities. So maybe we don't have 4 river bridges, maybe there's only 2. And then from here, it gets down, and this was actually proposed as a T-SPLOST 2018 was.
And this computer is like
So sorry.
ultimately the slowest computer the county owns. I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Alright, go back. Sorry about that.
So the connector trail from Beach Haven, Atlanta Highway up to Dudley Park comes to the forefront as a priority for the ORGC Greenway Commission, just because it's connecting 2 parks and also helping reconnect communities that haven't had a connection in a while. Apparently there used to be a dirt road that loosely followed that Mitchell Bridge Road all the way to Epps Bridge Road back in the day, according to some local guys I know that grew up here. So and if you're on a bicycle and up here in like Westchester or even, because there's a proposed multi-use trail along Mitchell Bridge Road up in this area that may come all the way to Ben Burton. So all the people living in all these neighborhoods up here, well, if they want to get over here, right now I guess they have to go up and go down Atlanta Highway. But if this connection was made, they could technically, come right around Ben Burton, get on the Greenway, ride the middle of Coney Greenway and pop out Atlanta Highway, pop out through Beach Haven, and then go do other things, normal town things or Beechwood Shopping Center things or anything along those lines. So again, I'm just letting you guys know other ideas, especially because recreation, parks and trails were listed in the TAD referendum. That, when you guys were established, so that the language is included, whether or not you guys choose to bring it to the forefront is up to y'all. But, as this group is working on Beach Haven, I'm on that Beach Haven users group, we will be getting together and talking about what needs to happen with that park and then putting together a whole priority list. So there may also be other things that group puts together in maybe a year that we bring y'all's way, to kind of say, hey, look, that now that the Beach Haven group has got their master plan together, here's a couple other ideas for the Matthews Motor area. But if you right now, if you look up Beach Haven project, you will see, that this trail segment and the parking lot are listed on that property right there. And it's really, cool thing is like, there's some really cool rock outcrops along this. So when you're down on the river, looking up, it's kind of, you're looking up, 15 to 25 foot boulders, or rock face, which is kind of neat. So it's a geology thing. It's pretty neat.
I assume the green and the purple lines that are crossing Atlanta Highway are going under the bridge.
Yeah, well, again, this is
Hopeful. I get it. It's a vision.
Yeah, this is at such a high level, but yes, there is, I know for a fact the purple is on a side where there is enough room. I can't quite remember what this is. This, we've even talked about dressing it to the light, because there is that is dressed to the light, here. So, yeah, Robbins, there's a light right here. So maybe dressing that up to there, to where it's actually at a traffic light. But again, this is a vision plan. This isn't, this is loosely based on countywide topography. So, once we the way it usually works is once a project gets picked, then we get an engineer to come in and actually do survey and actually, this is where the line goes on the ground. And that's where the neighborhood conversations happen.
So is this vision something that's similar to Boulder Creek Path or Austin, Texas, the downtown, or even, our neighbor in South Carolina that did a really good job with their downtown and with their use of their rivers? Is that sort of
Yeah,
what we're trying to do with this, with T-Splosh and with the TADs?
yeah. Well,
TAD can be anything.
the tag can be anything. Yeah, no. But the Greenway Network Plan is twofold. It has 5 pillars to it, but it can really summarize as natural resource. So the Greenway itself is not just the trail; it's a whole corridor. I got animals, you've got like standoff areas that you want to maintain that habitat. You want to maintain wetlands because wetlands help capture and stop floodwaters. They're the kidneys of the ecosystem. They help clean waters. So you've got that land ecology function, but then you also have the trail in it, which is people function. So that's recreation, transportation, education. So those 5 pillars fall into kind of those 2 camps. And yes, long term, we, smallest county, smallest tax digest, or not smallest, but it's a little, the services we have here outpace a lot of the funding we've got. So that's why the Greenway Network Plan is looking vision-wide and not really looking at what are we going to do next year? What are we going to do the year after that? We do look for grant opportunities as well. We've had built a trail. Other counties have built some trail with grant opportunities too. But, what's cool about this is this would be the first stick of trail on the middle Oconee, which, it is the Oconee Rivers Greenway Commission, plural, as in all the rivers that are in Clarke County, not just the north, which is where we have trail right now. There's also really beautiful shoals right in kind of where this fattens out right here, this notch is right here. There's actually really, really nice, water shoals in the water as well. So that's another kind of feature in the bridge you probably have seen. Yeah. Any thoughts,
So let's say that there are funds available. What we would be tasked with is figuring out what the priorities of this TAD team are for funding these sorts of things, whether or not we want to add it to the SPLOST. Is that sort of what our?
So our next item of business is prioritizing the 4 goals that the mayor and commission, set for each TAD, and one of those goals is public infrastructure. And then of course it's very broad. So what I'm doing with each TAD is hosting public input sessions, so that way the public can provide input on what they would like to see TAD funds be spent on.
Okay.
And then we'll take that input, and the committee for that TAD will then further prioritize the input. And you can rank it like saying public infrastructure is y'all's first priority goal. And a lot of the input we received from the public states that they would love to see that parcel built out for the Middle Greenway. That could be the first priority that's at the top of your list. And you can go to the mayor and commission at that point and say, hey, this is what our list is. We would like to spend funds if we have it to build it out, or if a developer comes in and builds something within the TAD, you can say as part of your community benefit, please build out this first priority. So that's the longer term goal or next steps after this.
From a Greenway or Beach Haven side, we would see any additional funds, whether it was grant funds or cost savings in the SPLOST program, which we probably won't happen this year, happen in 2011, or from TAD, we would see it as supplementing existing plans, like we're talking about right now. And that's also why we come back after we've made the master plan for Beach Haven to say, yes, that user group says a parking lot of 100 spaces would fit here with a restroom building, and then it would be more of there's the Greenway opportunity of putting, miles of paved trail or a river bridge on, and Beach Haven's priority of building this out as a parking lot with a restaurant building or something like that, you know what I mean? So those groups would feed you guys ideas that you would choose whether or not you want to take part or walk away.
Okay.
Yeah, and when we, only other thing I'll say is river-based. If you've been on the Firefly, if you've been on the Greenway Trail, 12, 14-foot hard sidewalk, all of this is pretty much, that's almost exactly what we're talking about here. We're not talking about 8-foot, we're not talking about slate or dirt or anything like that. Like we've chosen that to kind of be the standard, is that pave, because we have to do it once. We don't have to go back and maintain it. It lasts. It's just it's a bigger Band-Aid to pull off, but you only have to pull it off once. So that's why we do it that way.
So the purple section's all paved is what you're saying?
No, it's proposed to be paved.
Yeah.
Yeah, purple and green. The reason they're two different colors is because these 41, 42 different trail segments have different names. They also have different priority with Greenway Commission, and they also have public input associated with each one of them when the Greenway Network Plan was made. So I know for a fact, like this purple line, which is Beach Haven Trail, specifically, some public input was, yes, this will help us get into the park and get out of the park, because Beach Haven Park, you won't be able to drive through it. There's just too much historic stuff there. It won't be able to put a parking lot in the middle of it like a Bishop or a community center or something like that. So this one has some different feedback on it. But again, if you think about reconnecting, we've also looked at this, not just this piece of Matthews Motors, but like the whole piece that goes all the way to Burton. We've looked at some federal grants of reconnecting communities, because when the loop came in, it kind of chopped up some connections that were made there, especially between like the Westchester, Tallahassee area coming in. So the idea there is we're also still looking for other opportunities as well. So it might just be something where there's 4 different pots of money all added together, and maybe we get something cool. Yeah, and this is publicly accessible. Galen's got the link. If you guys want to come back to it or check it out on your own, you can feel free.
Okay,
Cool.
Thanks, Sean.
thank you.
Shit.
Yeah.
Go ahead and step out.
So yeah,
It's great to meet y'all.
thank you, Alex.
That's it.
What was his name?
Alex.
That was Alex Bond?
Mhm.
Okay. Good job.
All right.
So as I was stating just a few minutes ago, our next order of business would then be to prioritize those TAD goals that we were that the mayor and commission set forth for the TAD. So I don't know if y'all have given it any thought.
Can you bring them up?
Uh-huh,
I
that's.
think I recall exactly what we're more.
Hold on. You figure out how to do it. There. Can you see that? You need to make it bigger. Okay.
I can see it.
Alright, so there were 4. The first one, these aren't in any order, it's just how they were listed. So public infrastructure needs, so that would include anything from bike, pedestrian facilities. So it could be a multi-use path, sidewalks, parks, green space, intersection improvement, so traffic light upgrades, crosswalks, roundabouts, live stream, pipe replacement, stormwater facilities, any type of thing like that. So that's why I was like, it's very broad. Housing opportunities. So this goal targets residential development to provide at least 20% of those dwelling units at permanently affordable 80% of the area median income. And this truly needs to be updated to reflect the inclusionary zoning policy that was passed. It can't be technical, permanent, and so pretty much same difference. The next one is economic development partnership opportunities. So this would be trying to bring in anything that does job creation, incubators, spaces that you could build out that would provide higher wage employment for the county. And then lastly is Clarke County School District and youth development. So providing spaces that would help, the school district, youth development could include like the Boys and Girls Club, the mall agreement incorporated, a Boys and Girls facility in the mall. So that's how they incorporated it in that. So that's just an example. So those are the four. And you can rank them based off of how y'all feel is needed in the area, or you can base them off of what we've heard, the people come and talk. So, what y'all think?
I'll defer to Ken.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm always a housing man first, I guess. After that, it gets to be tough to make a decision.
And I would say whenever, if we put these in order and say housing does come up second, public infrastructure's first. If a development comes in and they're offering affordable housing as their community benefit, I mean, yes, you can always say yes to that. Just because it's your number two doesn't mean you shoot it down. So these are, I would call them lightly permanent. They're more fluid.
So when I think about that sort of the TAD area, right?
And I can,
What housing, I guess what does it lend to in a way? Obviously, you got the river thing. That's sort of an obvious thing that's right there, smack dab in the middle of it all. But, and then I think about economic development. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not sure where. When I think about each of those, the only one that jumps out as an obvious one is the public infrastructure piece. But I guess I don't know enough. And if you do the public infrastructure, and I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm not prioritizing anything. I'm just saying if you in my experience with Boulder and Austin and the Scottsdales and even places like Charlottesville, which I've lived in all of these areas, what's happened is that you develop a really nice path or recreational connectivity piece, and that draws in the multifamily homes, that draws in the commerce, the folks that want to provide services for people that are going to access those pathways. And if you think about, let's just say in 10 years, we have all the connectivity to the places that have lost connectivity that are outside, say, the loop, and then they're using these to kind of get into neighborhoods or to go shopping. Well, then, now you start talking about the ring road, then you start talking about ways that, developers would come in and go, okay, well, that's an attractive place to develop a, combined sort of residential and commercial property. I was really hoping that that's what we could have done, for the Blue Heron project back in the days, because we had all of that property along the river that we could have said, okay, city, do whatever it is that we wanted to do with it. But we certainly have housing down there now, and I don't know if the commercial's following it. Right, the housing is for, frankly, wealthy college kids, it seems like to me. Most of that stuff that's new, the stuff that's down on the river now. Just thinking out loud, I was like, okay, well, what comes before, is the cart or the horse, as far as what do you develop and make it nice and connect, and then does that bring in the, because you have quality of life pieces, does that bring in business? Does that bring in the economic development? Possibly. But who does that serve? right? Who do we wanna serve with this particular?
Cause you could say that would happen anyways, and you don't wanna incentivize what's already gonna happen, so let's incentivize something that may not happen. You could look at it on that front. If, that's just another way to look at it, that may not happen.
Hmm. I don't know, it's hard to say, I mean, I'm looking at the area now, it's kind of developing. I don't know, maybe in housing, but it's not, it doesn't have a whole lot of, I guess, shops and so forth in it now, for its, commercial stuff. Those are good questions. It's tough to say which come first.
And you don't have to make a decision today, it's just, this is our next step, so we can discuss till 3:30, and if we need to make another meeting to continue the discussion, that's totally fine, there's no pressure on deciding. But
Because the world is changing so fast, particularly in regard to commercial office space, it's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
Don't know if we're gonna be that anymore, so people don't put up commercial office space anymore.
Well, I'm definitely a user of the pathways, right? I am on those with either mountain bike or walking or, trying to get from one neighborhood to the next. I lived in Normal Town for a long time, and it's kind of crazy sometimes to ride your bike in and around that area. And if you're going from here to Normal Town, there's no easy way to get there. And if you could get there through a pathway, I think I love the connectivity piece that the Mayor and Commission and those sort of plans are putting forth. I know it's gonna take a long time, and I know that there are hurdles, but I just personally feel like I wanna support that group to connect these natural resources and preserve the natural resources, and that just brings everybody's, I guess, sense of neighborhood, sense of community, pride, the ability to get out and be healthy, to walk from one place to another rather than be required to get into a car and negotiate Atlanta Highway or West Broad rather. So those are just my thoughts. As I said, I don't have necessarily an opinion yet.
Yeah, I think they're, all important, they all kind of play off each other, personally, but I guess when you prioritize things, I guess when you go back to the tax allocation district, what's the money used for? What's the purpose is to try to create more tax revenue with these funds, right? So are we gonna prioritize, helping another project that already has three other, SPOS money, all the other things versus possible developer that comes in that wants to, demolish those white old office buildings, off Sycamore right there. I don't know, but they're just kind of old and ugly. That's just one example, but just say someone wants to demolish those or needs to, put in retention, something like that. So at the end of the day, do we, which one do we prioritize? If they're going after the same funds, if he wants to put in a multi-use project that's gonna bring in, multiple commercial anchors and bring in a lot of revenue that way to put back into the bucket, then at the end of the day, I guess that's the ultimate goal is to drive, more tax money, more revenue. So yeah, I mean, they're all important, but I guess that's what we gotta do, right? We gotta rank those 1 through 4, so.
like I said,
Yeah,
they're fluid, so
Right,
don't
like-
feel like
yeah.
they're set in stone.
like Ken said, housing's important too. If they wanna come in and knock those buildings down and put in, multifamily housing right there with retail on the bottom floor, mixed use development, I think something like that might be, most beneficial to the area. But then having those other trails, I mean, do we need to put in the TAB money to supplement that? I guess that's the question, is where does that need to be on our list, I guess? I mean, I don't know, what do you think, Ken? And Sam? And Bill, wherever you're at?
I don't know if do we have the public infrastructures out there right now? Somebody came in and say they want to build, do they?
Yeah, well, we don't have anybody coming in yet with any projects anyway, so that's the thing, and I guess this is the only one on the table right now is the trails, right? So.
Yeah, and it,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the trail.
And this is, prioritizing the goals so that way when a developer comes
Okay.
in, they can see.
Can you put it back up one more time?
Yeah. There you go.
So infrastructure, which would be trails. You have to put in a pipe,
Sidewalks.
anything like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Which would help any kind of economic development, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for example,
And that's
say
pretty
if,
decent order right now.
I kinda like the order. I'm okay with the order too, because the economic development piece is interesting, because as you said, like, how much do we want to incent somebody that's gonna come in and do it anyways? Right? I mean, if that, yes, I want to create opportunities for job creation. But I don't know, incubators are gonna settle down in there.
But you may not can't have it, you don't have the public infrastructure.
Yeah,
Exactly, so you have to have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Those are good person.
Now we can leave them in that order for now, I guess.
just for my 2 cents of opinion, y'all take it for a grain of salt. I will, for y'all's particular corridor, we don't have the struggle of something not getting built. I mean, it's West Broad Atlanta Highway.
Yeah.
Stuff's gonna happen there. You see it happening. So, that probably wouldn't be my top one. But like I said, that's just
Which wouldn't be your top one?
the economic development one, cause
Right.
Yeah.
you see stuff being redeveloped every day there. Like what was it, Applebee's beside the hotel?
I mean, just look what Malky's doing in that whole east side of West Broad. I mean, it's spending a lot of money in that development.
Yeah.
It should come down, it should go west, I would think.
And the only one that's kind of, I would say not to its, best, highest use, is the Kroger, the old Kroger in the Hole where is it Athens Fitness? That one's kind of always just been mediocre at
It's
it.
never been a great location, period. It
Yeah.
was our worst performing bank branch ever, because it's in a hole. I don't know what to do with that. That should probably become something that's like a housing solution.
So that would be something, that set of parcels would be a great TAD project. So, but to make it whatever,
Yeah. I mean, I'm just agreeing, I agree with you on that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with it, I mean,
Can always come back and change it, right?
yes.
yeah.
If what our main goal for today is to just prioritize them, and we can. Immensely are.
So we like the order as presented.
As presented.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on, let me,
If it's a 6 in one hand, half a dozen.
It really is.
Right?
yeah.
And it really depends on where things go in the next
That's what, and it
6
depends
to
a
12 months.
part of the development that comes into. That's why I'm like, we just take it as with a grain of salt.
Do we have to vote on that?
Yes, hold on.
We just need some projects brought to us, so.
And sometimes, I mean, you hear the phrase in economic development, build it and they will come. So sometimes you do have to build the public infrastructure to support the development coming in. So you can look at it in a bunch of different
Yeah.
facets.
Yeah, I have a developer who argues the opposite. He says if you build the beds, then the services follow.
Yeah,
I don't,
I mean,
a lot of times if you do it that way, in my opinion, and you don't have control over the services or what services are provided, then you get like what we have when you sort of go down towards the river on the west side of the town, is like you get all these expensive apartments and vacant commercial property, right? Vacant commercial space. However, if you like the way Boulder and Austin, all that, they really did a lot of work around their natural resources, and then everybody did come.
Yeah.
And those places continue to thrive, both from an economic perspective, but also by a lifestyle perspective. Because people are riding their bikes, and they're walking their dogs, and they're going for runs.
Most of what I've gathered is all of the retail and commercial space that has to follow head counts or like more of your chain. They're not your, what I call placemaking.
Lowe's and the Home Depots.
Yeah. Those are the retail that follow heads. So they're not what I call like your placemaking commercial retail. So not that favorite restaurant that you're gonna go to that's only in this part of the town type of deal.
I mean, I always think that when you build that really nice infrastructure down by the river, and the first thing that kind of comes to mind is that restaurant that overlooks the river.
Mm-hmm.
Or those sorts of services that are providing for, I mean, you go to Helen, right? You have all those restaurants that are built up right next to, and are quite lovely because they're right down there by the trickling
You
water.
get to people watch.
You get to watch your wipe out on inner tubes or kayaks, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that there's potential there. I like having water feature in our particular town. I like having the river to really drive some of these conversations because that's a dynamic part of the community. And as you know, I mean, you work there, right? You have property there. You look at what's going on across it all the time, and there's great potential to make that
I would love nothing
into a
more.
nice
Yeah.
quality of life sort of thing. Something to
see that all nice and clean and
Wouldn't it
paved.
be?
and
Yeah,
well-lit.
have a nice bridge and a running
Yeah.
path around it. I mean, that
Yeah.
would be game changing. It would be game changing for the people that live in those areas.
Which now it's like
Yeah.
fence and trash and it's just, we're doing our part right now, but it's
Don't get me wrong, we've got a house.
we got work to be done for sure.
Maybe there's ways to say, okay, and a lot of times what happens is, as a commercial banker, we know what happens when you build the big expensive place. The place that used to be the primary or the premier housing kind of gets dropped down a notch. And then there's this sort of cascade in a way of the valuations of some of those properties. And so some of them kind of that were nice at one point become more affordable when you continue to overbuild the top end.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like having a river to at least consider.
Well, I agree.
Well, if we are good with how they're presented, just to make it a little more formal, even though they still are fluid, we will have a motion just to say these are our goals, and then like I said, if we need to change them, we can always change them.
Okay, I'll also,
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? All right.
then y'all get just put your bet down, since which one gonna change.
That's right.
Let me pull this up. Okay, so, Sam, I remember you asking how were the boundaries? How did they become to be? So I've done research, and went back through, old videos, because if you look at the minutes are not just scripted. They don't include discussion. They just put if a motion was made and who seconded. So you don't get all of the fluff of what makes stuff. So if you want to do some very much digging and listening, I can send you the 4 dates that have all the discussion, but pretty much the way it was is Mayor Gertz brought to the commission the 6 areas of where the TADs are, and he just created like big bubbles, not parcel specific yet. And he presented those to the commission. The commission said, yes, green light on those 6 areas. Let's start
On the bubbles.
parceling down, yes, on the bubbles. So that was a 5/26/20 meeting. The next meeting after that was a July 9th meeting. And that is where they, talked about, well, darn it, oh. I was gonna get the. So our GIO officer took those bubbles and made a parcel map of those bubbles that included parcels that met these categories. And he tried to only include commercial or industrial type zone property. So he tried not to include any residential properties. There were some residential properties included just to keep the boundaries contiguous, because that is one of the rules that govern TAD boundaries. And once he did that and brought the maps to the mayor, it was over the 10% digest that's allowed for TAD. So he had to go through and then like cherry pick out parcels to get the TADs back down underneath 10, and once he did that, it got to be to 6%. So in this meeting, you'll see that the parcels are presented, but there's still not any true discussion of why this parcel was picked over that parcel. And the commission didn't question really a lot of the boundaries, so I don't think great level of detail of,
Some public policy works sometimes.
yeah. So that's the best answer I can give you. But I can send you the meeting dates if you wanna listen to the several hours long videos.
I mean, I might as well just look at it, or you can just send this as a reference.
Yeah, I'll send you the four,
Dates.
yes, and you'll see, if you click on the,
Is this from YouTube?
description,
Yeah.
you'll see where they
Oh,
start
okay, you can
talking,
start
and you
talking.
can just click on it, but you see that it goes from 2 hours to adjournment at 4 hours, so they did a 2-hour discussion on TADs.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was a long meeting.
and when that one,
And that was a public meeting. That was their,
that was a work session.
wow. Wow.
I mean, all of these are not, I think the last meeting date of September 1st was the shortest one, and it was like 40 minutes. And the other two besides this one are at least an hour, hour and a half.
Okay.
So I'm like, if you want to listen to
I
it.
think, and then I emailed you the other day. I was like, well, isn't there a discussion about changing some of the dads? Like adding or subtracting some of the parcels? I remember that. I don't remember exactly what the conversation was.
So a developer approached the mayor to look at adding the Beechwood parcels to this TAD. That was brought forth to the commission, last voting, so not this voting meeting that's
So the
happening
park right
tonight.
across the river. The Beechwood Park, right across
No.
from the motor area.
Alps Shopping Center, Beechwood,
Okay, okay.
like TJ Maxx.
Sorry, yes.
No, you're good. TJ Maxx,
That, okay.
yes. So those parcels, so including more of, Alps, so where the oil station is.
Kind of
on-
making a right turn on, yeah.
Yeah, on Alps, just go down Alps,
Okay.
so. That was presented to the commission, the past voting meeting, and they pulled that item, and nothing else has been
Okay,
mentioned about it, so that one's kind of just up in the air.
I mean, it's that sort of right corner, right? In that picture of all that
Right
stuff right
here.
there. Okay.
Right in there.
Now, if hypothetically, if you added it
Mhm.
to that, then wouldn't the tax revenue from those areas be available to the additional tax revenue? I guess, how would that benefit the tab?
So
if were to add
you,
those?
you have to essentially reset the base increment. If you add anything, and it increases redevelopment costs, which always will, if you're adding something to a tag, you have to reset the base. So we still get to keep the funds that we've accumulated in the account today. But that growth that we've received over the past 3 years will be lost because we have to reset the base, but we're resetting it with these property values included. So any development that happens since we're in 2024, so any development that happens after December 31, 2024 will add to that pot, granted if the boundaries are approved. Does that help?
Yes,
Okay.
what's the balance of our particular pot?
Give me a second, I can tell you. I had to, I think I sent it out and I had to redo it because the finance department deposited some in the wrong account. Where are y'all? Y'all's balance is $494,735.18, so almost $500,000.
And that's 3 years worth of
Mhm.
ad?
Yeah, FY 22, 23, and 24.
Is it growing exponentially? In other words, was the first year
So the
50,000, the second year 100,000, and then, 200,000 on the last year?
So, the FY 22 was, roughly 98.5. FY 23 was 182.5. And this past year was 233 and change.
Okay,
So, yeah.
going in the right direction.
Yeah, we're definitely going in the right direction. We are not reverting.
Did you say FY 22 is
Mhm.
98?
Yeah,
So that kind of doesn't make sense to me, because FY 24 hasn't ended yet. We have 233, or do you have a?
so the way the fiscal year runs and the way our property taxes are paid, our property taxes are paid in calendar years and fiscal years are from July to June. So we collect property taxes October to December, so that's
Right.
fiscal year 24. So what we just collected is fiscal year 24,
Okay,
and then it'll end
I
June.
understand now. So you got 24's taxes already in. the budget.
Right.
Got it.
Mhm. So what we collect in this October,
25's.
yep.
Got it.
So that was what I had for that follow-up question. Was there any other questions from the last meeting that I skipped by chance? I'll try to go back and make sure I didn't miss anything, but I don't think it.
No, I think that was it.
Okay,
That was something we'd been asking sort of, I guess, from the first meeting, so,
yeah,
and it's still kind of vague, but.
well, that, you'll see that in one meeting we have bubbles, the next meeting we have parcels, and there's not any, minutes or videos to figure out exactly how these parcels were chosen other than,
Kelly's like, would you please make the bubbles and the parcels?
yes,
Okay.
pretty much. Yeah, and, the GAO officers was like, this is how I picked parcels for those categories that I listed. So, and he'll go through that detail in that video.
And we're not limited with the entire city to 6 TADs. Can you make more TADs?
You can, as long as your, taxable digest is, of the TADs is under 10%.
Of
Your
total
total
Tax
taxable digest,
okay,
10% of that,
cannot be over 10%.
yeah. And I think right now we're sitting at like 6. Maybe a little less.
Were
than 6.
there TAD bubble areas that were not included in the final 6?
All 6 got approved. 6 were presented, 6 were approved.
I assume that I don't know the answer at all, so let me ask. The other TAD committees,
Mhm.
how did they prioritize?
They all vary. Some of them put affordable housing first. I would say the majority of them put public infrastructure first, just because that's, more tangible and, if it's something that they wanted to fund, you could see a
See
greater.
the sidewalk.
Exactly. So, I would say the majority did put public infrastructure first, but, I wanna say East Downtown put affordable housing as their first goal.
That's good. I like that.
I can't remember about them all.
East downtown.
Yes,
It's,
which is,
Just trying to figure out exactly what
No,
that means.
it makes that, yeah, I like to see.
is this one here.
Okay. Great.
It is one of our, I call longest stretching pads. Cause it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
kind of,
Well, that makes sense.
Well, it's kind of way, I guess, housing is going, that's the only way it can go out there. The rest of it's kind of about ready to take them up. See. A lot of vacant land out there. Unpublic city.
and North Avenue hasn't prioritized theirs yet. That, was their next meeting. They'll be doing that at their next.
Who's on that committee?
North Avenue, Levin McDougal, Gary Armour, Sherman Usher, Patrick Howard, Angela Benazzi, and Quazon Payne. Did I name seven? Think so.
Okay. And who's on the east downtown?
Rashi Malcolm, Fred Smith, Smith Wilson, Regina Walker, Madeline Van Dyke, and Charlie Gluttonous, but a lot of those are fixing to change because their terms are up as of March.
How long are the terms?
So they're 2 and 3 for initial, members to create staggered. And then once that first staggered has gone, it's 3 after that.
So they're already rotating off? So
Mhm.
those folks have already been on there for 2 or 3 years?
2 years, yep, cause they came on, March of 22. Yeah, cause that's when I first
So what-
started.
Ours seems later.
Yes, cause y'all just oriented in November.
You know,
Why was the delay? Why was it?
Cause there's only one of me and
Oh,
I
okay.
can't orient that many at once.
I think we were,
Good answer.
were we the last one last time?
No, sorry, y'all were oriented with North Avenue, so y'all came in at the last, so I was, Mayor Gertz picked kind of the ones he wanted to start first. Lexington was first out of the gate because there was an application waiting on them, so Lexington had to go first. And then the next was the mall, Newton Bridge and East Downtown, because there were talks of applications with all of those. Of course, the mall came through, so then that left North Avenue and.
It's on the Newton Bridge. That's Chase, right? That whole like North Chase in the Newton kind of area.
All of Newton Bridge pretty much, a tidbit of Chase and a tidbit of Barber. Daniel Epting, Pete Dugas, David Barbie, Tracy Davenport, Leon Leathers, and that's it for the moment.
That's a couple characters on that one.
Yes. That is,
I kinda wanna go visit them. When is their next meeting?
they haven't, so they just had a meeting on the 19th and they didn't set a meeting date, cause they're trying to draft an agenda item. So they didn't set a meeting date, but hopefully, I would assume it will be fairly soon, but yes, they are, quite some characters.
Oh my God. Leathers and Epting and Dugas, just put those 3 at the table. They're not gonna get anything done.
Oh, they're going to get something done if it's the death of me.
I mean, you got a talker, you got a super creative, like tangent. Anyway.
Yeah.
Having 3 people is gonna be very efficient, quite frankly. I mean, everybody else is like 9 people on their tab. There's just 3 or 4 of us.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, y'all do have another one coming on, cause there was a 5th one of y'all that, he had to roll off pretty much as soon as the committee, started orienting and the mayor just appointed that vacancy. So I, am waiting on him to now appoint all the vacancies that are rolling off on the other one. So I'm just gonna create one big orientation for all of the, all the new members and vacant members that have been appointed. So, yes.
I think the new person always takes over the secretary duties. I think I have that in the minutes.
I don't know.
All right.
Well, I don't wanna keep y'all,
Okay.
but I don't wanna rush y'all. Is there anything else y'all want to discuss? Any questions?
No, this has been very informative. I will have the minutes out shortly.
For our next meeting, I have it on June 4th at 2:30. Is there anybody, any, department y'all want to hear from in particular?
I will not be here.
That's okay.
I can't think of one at the moment.
Okay, well, if y'all have something that comes up in between now and June, I mean, there's plenty of time to think about it. Y'all can just shoot me an email and I will.
Yeah, we're Zoom in or WebEx in.
You can, you just won't count as part of the quorum.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I would like to know what the infrastructure already is in our tab. It's, what department is that? I don't know.
and so that would either be transportation and public works or public utilities. It depends on what infrastructure you're talking about. Public utilities is gonna be your water and sewer. Transportation and public works is gonna be
Can
your
you have it in the,
sidewalks
in
and.
that, in a document where the water mains and the sewer lines are
Okay.
in our tab? I just happen to be a nerd and put everything in a notebook like this, and then road conditions and.
And we had, Ronnie Katrib, who's the interim director for transportation and public works. He came and spoke at our last meeting. If you, I can send you the link to that meeting if you wanna go back and listen to
Okay,
him.
yeah.
He talked about, like how Alex did, projects that they have or will be having
Okay.
within the district, so I'll do
Yeah,
that.
send that to me.
Make that note.
Okay,
Alright, well, that's all I had, so TJ, I will let you say the magic words.
No further business, motion to adjourn.
that's a move.
Aye.
All right.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Alright.
All I gotta do is figure out how to